I'm going to be a tough guy. The
Okay.
United States right now does not have a sovereign government. We don't have financial sovereignty, and we don't have information sovereignty.
This is being touted as a massive loss for Israel. Trump is going to grant Saudi Arabia a peaceful nuclear program without demanding normalization with Israel in return. This is according to here it is from the Times of Israel. Trump drops Biden's demand that Saudis recognize Israel in a nuclear deal with the United States. So this is right from the Times of Israel. The United States is no longer demanding Saudi Arabia normalize ties with Israel as a condition for progress on civil nuclear cooperation talks. Two sources with knowledge of the matter tell Reuters. Ahead of the U.S. President Donald Trump's visit next week, Washington would be making a major concession by dropping the demand that Saudi Arabia establish diplomatic relations with Israel. Under former U.S. President Joe Biden, nuclear talks were an element of a wider U.S. Saudi deal tied to normalization with Riyadh's goal of a defense treaty with Washington. The kingdom has repeatedly said it would not recognize Israel without a Palestinian state, frustrating Biden administration attempts to expand the Abraham Accords signed during Trump's first term. Under those accords, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, and Morocco normalized relations with Israel. Progress towards Saudi recognition of Israel has been halted by fury in Arab countries over the war raging in Gaza. The nuclear talks had also stumbled over Washington's non-proliferation concerns. So Lindsey Graham tweeted this out. I've been working on and supportive of normalization between Saudi Arabia and Israel for years. This historic agreement would effectively end the Arab-Israeli conflict and allow the regions to march towards the light and away from darkness, building on the historic Abraham Accords. However, I would like to make it crystal clear that I will never support a defense agreement with Saudi Arabia or other elements of a proposed deal that does not include normalizing the relationship with Israel as a part of the package. Normalization between Saudi Arabia and Israel is an essential element. So that's Lindsey Graham being Israel first and being America second. And here, Mel, who we've quoted lots at this, says, she says, these traitors have no problem placing Israel's interest above our own. This statement is so batshit insane, it's hard to believe it's real. Who the hell do you actually work for? So this guy's very good at breaking stuff down. And he says another sign that the Trump administration is moving to free the United States from the Zionist chokehold. Israeli media reports that Washington no longer demands a Saudi normalization with Israel as a precondition for deeper strategic ties and help with creating civilian nuclear infrastructure. If this is true and remains this way, Saudi Arabia deserves respect for its steadfastness. They never agreed to formally abandon Palestine and normalize over its head. And the pressures have been immense. If this is true and remains this way, this signifies a huge blow to Netanyahu's regional aspirations, which sought to accomplish two strategic objectives: regime change in Iran and normalization with Saudi Arabia, which incorporated the erasure of Palestine. I want to wait a little bit longer before I really celebrate this, and it's hard to celebrate anything when disgusting, degenerate Israeli continues the bloodbath. Still, there are multiple signs already that MAGA USA, as opposed to Democrats and liberal USA, has some limits and self-respect as regards Israeli-dictated foreign policy. This could also be why they're having an anti-Semitism push to distract, confuse, and weaken their Israeli-first opponents. If all this, and if this is true and remains true, it means the terrible, historic catastrophe of the last 18 months will end with a political victory for Palestine and a crushing defeat for Zionism, Israel, AIPAC, and Netanyahu. So let me just throw it to you. And what do you think this is true?
No, until I see the money cut off from funding the Gaza genocide, I'm not. I'm going to be a tough guy. The United States right now does not have a sovereign government. We don't have financial sovereignty, and we don't have information sovereignty. And the Israeli first policy is at the very heart of, certainly the compromise of information sovereignty, probably as well as financial sovereignty. I want to see sovereignty return to the United States. So this sounds like a good development, and I hope Trump is moving in that direction. But if that's like saying we've moved an inch towards something where we need a mile. I think we need a paradigm shift on this whole issue.
Come see us live in Los Angeles, Buffalo, Toledo, Montreal, Ottawa, Glasgow, Manchester, Belfast, Dublin, London, Liverpool, Birmingham. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.